Everybody, it's Dr. Steven. I'm here in Estes Park, Colorado, where my wife Linda and I have spent just a wonderful weekend. We went snowshoeing in Rocky Mountain National Park, which is something we love doing. We try to do it at least a couple times a year, living here in Colorado. It's quite cold. There's a lot of snow all over the place, as you can see, but at the same time, it's how we get through the winter here in Colorado, as we make it an outing and a sport. I just wanted you guys to see what I'm looking at, and we'll be heading back into Colorado Springs today, about a 3-hour drive. And so I look forward to meeting back with you in just a moment in my warm study, and we can talk about this week. Hope you don't mind the little short introduction. Sometimes I just like to let people see what I'm looking at and just try to make a personal connection between the online student and the professor. Well, I was away this weekend, and consequently, I thought I had taken care of everything for this week, and it turns out I had not unclicked the little box in the portal for the faculty saying make available for students, and I am so sorry for that. You should be able to see it now under assignments. It's this week, and there's a much bigger document on the Lominger competency skill things that we're looking at. And don't panic, because this is like 868 pages, and we're not asking you to read all of it. It's the same 67, 64? I think it's 67, isn't it? Different competency skills. It's the same group of them, but it breaks down after each one several pages of practical ideas of how you can grow in it. So what we want you to do this week, remember a couple weeks ago, we asked you to kind of focus in on just, a couple, 2, no more than 3 of those competency skill areas that you want to work on in your own personal leadership ability and growth. So take those same 2 or 3 that you talked about and we discussed in the discussion thread, and find those pages. It's real easy. There's a table of contents and index, so you can find those and just read those pages. So in other words, out of the 868 pages, everybody is going to be reading maybe 10 or 12 pages is all. Just kind of skimming through those pages to find some real practical ways that you can begin to grow in those particular areas of leadership competency. And so this week in the discussion thread, let's talk about those specific areas for each of us and then interact back and forth. I think it's going to be a helpful exercise. This is an area that Dr. Frank Marco, of course, from the directing the Master of Leadership program, and many of you have had him as a professor. This was really his brainchild, was exposing you first to that short little document, and then a few weeks later, about halfway into the class, which is where we are now, revisiting it with this much larger one so that you can really find some concrete ways that you can grow in your leadership skills and abilities. Beyond that, let's just keep doing the once a week, 1-page journal entry. As I said, I was going to wait a few weeks because of so many of you were impacted by the storm. So perhaps I'll put up, maybe even this week, I'll put something up so you can upload what you have so far. Don't worry about it, because ultimately at the end of the class, which is a 15-week class, what I'm asking for to get full credit on that portion of the grade, which would be an A, would be 12 weekly journal entries out of the 15 weeks. So if we can end up with 12 of them by the end, it's all fine. Beyond that, there's going to be a short final essay where you integrate your ministry experience and the leadership competency areas and interact between those things. And so basically, those things are all that's required in this class, along with the robust discussion threads and the involvement that you actually have in whatever ministry setting and area that you have. Hopefully you have been meeting with at least a couple of times, and will identify another time or two before the end of the class to meet with that person in a mentor role and talk to them even about these competency skills. So I will see you guys in the discussion threads. I want to thank a couple of you for emailing me and letting me know you could not access this information. Again, that's my fault. I'm sorry. I'm glad I was able to take care of it this morning. So we'll see you in the discussion threads.